You feel it. That pressure behind your chest when someone disrespects you and you say nothing. That fire you swallow every time you're told to be calm, be reasonable, be nice. You've been managing it, containing it, apologizing for it. And every single day you do that, something inside you becomes smaller. They told you your darkness was the problem, that your hunger was dangerous. They were wrong, and that lie has cost you years. Your anger is not your enemy. Your envy is not your shame. Your hunger is not your sin. They are raw materials, and right now, someone else is using them because you abandoned them. This video is about reclaiming what is yours, what was always yours. Carl Jung called it shadow integration. The world called it forbidden. I call it the only path left. Let's be honest about what your life actually looks like right now. You work, you give, you hold yourself together with discipline most men would collapse under. And yet, they still step over you. They still take without asking. They still look through you like glass. You've blamed yourself for this. You've wondered what's wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. Everything is wrong with what they taught you about yourself. From the moment you were old enough to feel rage, they pathologized it. They called it aggression, toxicity, something to be managed, medicated, and apologized for. But here is what they never told you. A man without access to his darkness has no real power. He becomes a tool, predictable, safe for others to use and discard. The system does not want integrated men. It wants compliant ones. Compliant men do not threaten the hierarchy. They sustain it. Every time you swallow your fire to keep the peace, you make their peace more secure. And theirs. This is not your failure. This is a designed outcome. Carl Jung saw this. He spent his life mapping the exact mechanism by which civilization creates its own prisoners. And he left a map out, if you are willing to go where it leads. Carl Gustav Jung, born 1875, Swiss psychiatrist, founder of analytical psychology. While the world celebrated the rational mind, Jung descended into the darkness beneath it. He called it the shadow. Every trait you were taught to deny, every impulse you were told made you monstrous. He did not say destroy the darkness. He said own it, integrate it, make it yours. He wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Every spiritual tradition tells you to rise above your nature. Jung told you to go through it. Not because the darkness is good, but because what you do not own owns you. This is the foundational truth that every system of control works to keep you from. A man who knows his own darkness cannot be weaponized by someone else's, which is exactly why what Jung discovered was never taught to you in school. The first thing Jung understood that the world doesn't want you to know, your darkness is not a defect. Your anger is information. Your envy is a compass pointing at what you actually want. Your hunger is not greed. It is the signal of a man who was built for more than he has been given. Today, notice the next time you feel rage or envy, and instead of suppressing it, ask, what is this telling me? Drop this in the comments right now. My darkness is my data. The man who listens to his darkness owns it. The man who ignores it is owned by it. Jung called the mask you show the world the persona, and here is the brutal truth about yours. You built it to survive, to be accepted, to not be too much for the people around you. And the longer you wore it, the more you forgot it was a mask. Today, identify one role you play for others that costs you energy every time. That is a piece of your cage. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. You are not dismantling yourself. You are finding yourself. When you deny a part of yourself, Jung said, you do not destroy it. You project it. You see in other men the ambition you denied yourself, the aggression you chained, the boldness you buried. and you call him arrogant, dangerous, too much, because you cannot afford to recognize it as your own. If this is hitting different, drop this. I reclaim what I projected. Today, find the man you most resent or most admire and ask, what quality of his am I refusing to own in myself? The man who owns his darkness stops bleeding it onto everyone around him. Here is why powerful people fear the integrated man. He has no exploitable blind spots. Manipulation works by targeting the gap between what you are and what you pretend to be. They make you feel guilty about your ambition, ashamed of your desire, fearful of your own strength. But the integrated man has already seen those things in himself. They hold no charge over him. Today, write down the 3 things you are most ashamed of wanting. Those are your manipulator's tools until you own them. Drop this. Shame has no power over a man who sees himself clearly. Ownership of self is the only immunity that lasts. The integrated man does not become a savage, he becomes precise. The unintegrated man explodes, the suppressed man implodes, the integrated man deploys. Your anger becomes the cold clarity you feel when someone crosses a line and you speak, calmly, without flinching. Your hunger becomes the relentless forward motion that doesn't need applause to keep moving. Today, choose one situation where you typically either explode or go silent and practice the 3rd option. Speak, clearly, without volume. Controlled force is not weakness wearing a polite mask, it is the most dangerous thing a man can become. Jung made one more discovery that changes everything. The shadow is not just darkness, it is also buried gold. The creativity you suppressed because it felt too strange, the leadership you denied because it felt too arrogant, the authority you downplayed because someone once told you that you were too much. These were not flaws to be corrected, they were strengths that threatened the people around you. Drop this. I am the destination, not the pursuit. Today, name one thing about yourself that others have repeatedly called too much. That is where your gold is buried. The man who recovers his buried gold does not just heal, he becomes formidable. Integration is not a one-time revelation, it is a daily discipline. Every morning, ask, what am I avoiding in myself today? Not to fix it, just to see it. Every evening, ask, where did I react today in a way I didn't choose? That is your shadow pointing at its location. This is not therapy. This is maintenance on a weapon, your weapon. Today, start. Tonight, 1 page, 1 question. What did I react to today that I still don't fully understand? Drop this now. I do the work that others refuse. The man who knows himself is the man who can never be made to act against himself. You have spent years trying to make yourself acceptable, smaller, easier to hold. That version of you is finished. The old you is dead. What walks forward now is not a performance, not a persona curated for approval. You are a weapon pointed at your own future. Not pointed at their comfort, not pointed at their approval, not pointed at what they decided was safe for you to want. You belong to no one, not your past, not their narrative, not the version of you that was safe enough for small people to be comfortable around. Carl Jung did not map the shadow so you could read about it. He mapped it so you could descend into it and come back changed. The man who does this work becomes someone that cannot be defeated by the things that defeat ordinary men. Guilt, shame, other people's expectations, these are weapons that only work on the unexamined. If this found you, it found you for a reason. There is more, every week, no softness, no performance, just the knowledge they didn't want you to know. You don't subscribe for me, you subscribe because you decided you're done being the man who almost knew. The next video goes deeper, and not everyone is ready for it. But if you watched this far, you might be. Before you go, one question for the comments.
Think carefully before you answer. What part of yourself have you been most afraid to own, and what has that cost you?